1, with day number 2 being next Wednesday. Real quickly, go through the housekeeping notes, if I may. The contact us is contact@perfusioneducation.com. You can look down there at the scroll bar and see all the information that comes up. During the program, if you need to find something where we're streaming to, our podcast information, where to register for perfusioneducation.com so that you can be a part of our system and have continuous credits and so forth, will be that scroll bar that you saw. Apparently they want me to hurry up, so I guess I'm going to move on to the next thing. But that scroll bar will come up and down as the program goes on. So the MediWeb app. Let's see if I can say it in English. I sound like I sound like I'm doing a what do you call those things? When you're bidding money?
No. Auctioneer.
Yeah, an auctioneer. I sounded like an auctioneer. That's it. But our MediWeb app, you can find it on your favorite app store with iPhone or the iTunes, I guess, or whatever app store, Apple App Store, and the Google Play Store. And it's a very useful app. I use it every day for my cases. It gives me everything: predicted crit. It gives me the flows. It gives me the BSA. It gives me, and you have a lot of different things you can add into it. So you don't only have your pump prime, but if it has urine output, how much volume did anesthesia give? There's a lot of different elements to calculating what your hematocrit's going to be, and not just what your pump prime is, right? And you can adjust that if you plan on wrapping or not, even though I don't believe in wrapping, and I don't. But if you're gonna wrap, I'm not gonna do it. But if you're gonna wrap, if you're going to wrap, my contention is wrapping the venous line and wrapping the arterial line is like
they're different.
Peeing in the ocean.
Correct.
If you're gonna do it, the oxygenator and the pump head have way more volume than those lines.
Right.
So when I wrap, and I did this yesterday on the case with Maniscalco, I bring it all the way back through the oxygenator,
through the
cone, and I put a 3/8 straight with a lure lock, and I drain it out there, and then I add my drugs and so forth. So it's a full blood
because he puts
prime.
a lure on a negative port.
But
but he makes sure it's closed and clamped and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
But I mean, we do that with ECMO all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is true.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
We do that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, so yes, it's anything can happen. You're right.
Sure.
Everything we do, I won't dispute, comes with some element of risk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And of course, I have a air bubble detector, which is pretty sensitive. They work really well. And if that's not going off, and all of my cases that I do like that wake up, I've got a feeling I'm doing okay.
Correct.
Because you're not only going to have to go into the pump head, you're going to have to then go into the oxygenator. You have your recirc open, your de-airing recirculation lines. If you have that much air that it's going to make it through there, you're going to see it somewhere. You're going to see foam starting to fill up your reservoir or something, because that actually happened. I know I've changed subjects. Our podcast, let me just get that out of the way, because we're going to change the subject. I'm so sorry.
See, I knew you were going to
you go to your favorite, I did, but I'm going to go back to it. You go to your favorite podcasting platform, Spotify or Podbean or whatever it is you like, and you can listen to us. Go back and forth and rant and discuss. Mostly me doing the talking for whatever reason. It's not that I monopolize the conversation or anything, but that's just the way I am, I guess. So there you go. So we're going to start our program, but before we do, I'm going to finish this thought. So I got called about a case, and I was called by the defense and asked if I could find mitigation here in any way. And the case involved a pump that was set up routinely and moved around. And the perfusionist went on bypass, and within a very short period of time started noticing foam in the venous reservoir. So their first thought was
They're
there's
open to
blood,
air, yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's a leak in the venous
Correct.
line
Or
somewhere.
right.
But for that to happen, remember it has to go through. There was foam, but I mean I've had a lot of air in my venous line. I don't still see foam coming into the thing. So something was wrong. Just hadn't figured it out yet. And I kept going through this report, and they were actually taking pictures of it. And because they believed it was something wrong, there was a manufacturing issue, but everything else seemed fine. So they chose to just keep going. The foam layer kept growing and kept growing. And eventually, the surgeon noticed that the aorta, where the cannula was, had essentially become opaque, and it was just full of air. And then there were other signs that something bad had happened as well. So they immediately came off bypass, and they changed out the circuit, and the foam disappeared. But of course, the patient by this time was dead.
Correct.
So there was no way to salvage this patient. But they still tried. But they had severe anoxic brain injury. They ended up dying. Well, they sent the circuit back to the manufacturer. I'm not going to say where this was. I'm not going to say who this was. I'm not going to say who the manufacturer was, because it doesn't really matter at this point. But I do think there's a lesson here. And what had happened was, during one of these moves, the centrifugal cone inlet had been clearly impacted, and it caused a teeny little micro crack in the inlet where it connects to the centrifugal cone itself. And that's what was leaking. And they were able to prove, using very sophisticated scanners, that it was an impact injury. They know it wasn't a manufacturing defect. It was an impact injury. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I understand, but how did the air bubble detector not go off?
Exactly.
Because I'm like, there's mitigation here, because I read the report, the whole report, and I was like, how did the air bubble detector not go off? Because this sounds like this sounds like a manufacturing problem. So I think there's a lot of mitigation here. And their response was, well, they don't believe in using them.
Oh my. Okay.
They didn't have it connected. They didn't have it turned on. And it was a pump that will tell you, when you query the pump, that it wasn't connected and it wasn't turned on. And my response was, you better ask them how many zeros and just write the check. And they're like, what do you mean? You don't think? I said, no, there's zero. There's nothing I can do. Nothing. No way I'm going to put my reputation on the line and somehow excuse not using an air bubble detector. This was only 3 years ago. There's no way in heck I'm going to do that. Forget it. You're toast. I don't know what they ultimately did, but I didn't participate in that case, obviously, because there's nothing I could do. And that was really messed up. So there's a lesson there, and that is that we kind of lose sight of how careful we do need to be when we move pumps around. And the hospitals I'm referring to, especially when the nurses or even some of the docs think that they're in a hurry, and they think that, well, let's just move the pump for them. They don't quite understand how delicate it is. And it made me question and feel very uncomfortable with moving a pump ever out of the operator. I don't have a problem with it being set up, but I even worry about housekeeping possibly bumping into it. So I think it needs to be in a position where maybe that needs to be even better protected, and maybe we even need to do better, because it's reminded me of that. And I don't know why I got reminded of it, but have you ever heard of anything like that?
No, I was always told to just be careful. Because
Yeah.
like things can happen, things
Yeah.
can break.
Yes.
But also, if there's safety and measures in place, take
Right.
advantage of them while you can.
You would
It's
have-
the
yes.
patient at the end of the
The
day.
foam turned into, I mean, there had to be, that stream of air was going to the patient. The
Right.
air bubble detector would have gone off. But at 4 or 5 liters of flow, you can't see that.
No.
You can't see it. That's what those air bubble detectors are for,
Yeah.
right? And they're awfully sophisticated these days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to not use one it's inexcusable in my view.
Mhm. I can't believe they didn't use it.
It is. Okay. The perfusionist of the future.
Ah.
You're not looking at him. Okay. You might be looking at them, but you're definitely not looking at him. All right. My career is rapidly coming to a conclusion, but I want to go out with a bang.
There
Okay.
you go.
I'm going to try to do that today. So we're going to look at some things. And by the way, this is Dr. Samir Patel, my colleague and good friend.
Hi.
And he is you're a relatively new graduate, but you
Yes.
have a not insignificant amount of experience in life. You were a practicing physician in India. You
Correct.
did run a stroke clinic.
I did.
You managed a lot of patients, made big boy decisions or big girl
Occasion-
decisions, as the
occasionally.
case may be. So you've lived in that realm, and you're a little older.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are certainly a perfusionist of the future because you're a new graduate. You're getting ready to take your boards in just a few days.
Correct.
And so you are new.
Yep.
And you plan on being this for a
For a
while.
little bit
Okay.
at least.
Mhm.
So they won't have me.
And then we have Vivian Moreno,
Hello.
who is from Columbia, from New York. She went to the Columbia program. You've been a perfusionist now for about 18 years. She is certified by the ABCP, and you've been on the program before.
Yes.
Your contributions are always very well thought out and appreciated by, I think, myself certainly, but I think everybody else in the listening audience as well, or watching audience as well. But you represent also a newer generation of perfusionists, the perfusionist of the future, a year and a half, and you're looking at somebody that has 46 years of postgraduate practice. So that's a long time. I thought I wanted to make it to a half a century, but I'm not going to. I'm going to quit right at 49 and just screw everybody. But a year and a half in, you're looking at a minimum of let's say a 20-year career, maybe 25-year career, maybe longer. I don't know. It's hard to say, right? But just at 25 years, you still have 20 plus years to go in your career. So you need this industry to thrive. It's very important. And you need to be able to, you want to be able to have a mark. You want to be able to have a contribution. What we do is so incredibly specialized, misunderstood by almost everybody, always looks easy to everyone, and everyone wants to be us until
Something goes wrong.
and eventually when it will go wrong.
Right.
And then everybody just sort of moves as far away from us as they possibly can get.
Yeah.
And so we have a very strange job. People just don't get it. They don't understand it. They can't figure it out. They say everything from, on the one extreme, oh, you're like doctors. You just that's the same as a doctor. No, not exactly. Or, oh, so like you're like an X-ray tech. No, not exactly. They don't understand it. It's just too weird, I think. I've asked people before, just randomly, do you know what a perfusionist is? And they'll say, you make perfume? I've had them say that. That's pretty
Nice.
funny.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah. Mhm. And I usually tell the surgeons that I'm a confusionist when I'm your confusionist for today. They like that. So we're going to look at the historical foundation, current trends, expanding practice, and the future of technology and how that's going to affect or influence perfusion. So real quickly, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the history, but it is interesting. In 1963, the Cleveland Clinic pioneered the first organized perfusion training program. A lot of people believe it was Texas Heart. Texas Heart did have a good part in that. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry.
See?
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. See, we're on the same page.
Please forgive me. In 1969, there was university integration, and the first university-affiliated program was actually Ohio State. Interestingly enough, of course, Ohio State closed down. I don't know if they're reopening or not, but they had closed down. In 1971, now this is the one that's important, is that Texas Heart becomes the first ABCP accredited school of perfusion, and the ABCP was founded in 1970.
Okay.
Okay, Charlie Reed was the president of the ABCP, and he was also at Texas Heart, and he made sure Texas Heart Institute was the first ABCP accredited school. The first certification exam administered by, it says AMSECT administered, but it was actually the ABCP was in 1972. That's an error, which I'm very upset with myself about.
I can't believe you did
And
that.
I can't believe I did it either. Okay, but they used to be affiliated. The ABCP and AMSECT actually used to be affiliated with each other, and so it really was AMSECT because it was the AMSECT conferences where you took the exam. The ABCP and AMSECT were basically the same organization, but that had to be split because you can't have the professional society be the accrediting society,
Right.
and that's a lot of what happened
Conflict
there.
of interest.
Yeah. In 1994 was the peak program years, peak in perfusion education with formal accreditation standards through KHEP and the ACPE. That started to really change a lot of things. I'm so sorry, forgive me for this. I am so sorry, please
Always
forgive
find
me.
it easy.
You can talk.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know much about all this. Way too new to this. Way too new to this. I know what AMSECT is. I know what ABCP is, and that is the limitation of what I know with regards to perfusion. The perfusionist of the future, right? One day when I'm at Joe's level, I will hopefully
Please-
have
please
the amount of opinions he has.
Please forgive me for this. I hate the fact that I still have to answer my phone even when I'm doing this program. I apologize. So thank you very much
all right.
for
Absolutely.
filling the air. So let's look at 10 years, the past 10 years. So from 2014 to 2024, you can see the growth in perfusion programs. Now that growth spiked somewhere around 2020, which is when COVID hit, right?
Right.
And you can see it's continuing to grow year after year. There was an increase because I do think that the population is aging. We know that. The need for cardiac surgery is increasing because of that aging population and other things too, not just cabbages, but valves. Even with TAVRs, they need us for standbys. There's even though Germany, they do it in freestanding cath labs with no perfusion standby. You rupture the root, sorry, too bad, so sad, you see you later. That's
Really?
basically, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
and they want to do that here in the United States, but
No.
it's not been very well adapted. It has not been. It's not something you're getting a lot of pushback. I think the STS is
We're
going
a
to
much
be like, no, we're
higher
not doing that.
litigious society, so it's going to be a lot harder
Absolutely.
in this country to pull off that which Germany does, right?
Exactly, but you can see that there was an 83% growth. With again looking at that graph, you can see that right here is the big spike, and the big part of that 83% exists in this last third of the programs here. And this, we talked about it already, that a lot of this has to do with aging population, complexity of cardiac procedures that are being done, and COVID played a huge role in this. In fact, this explains it here: post-COVID growth in perfusion training, pandemic influence is analyzed. And of course, ECMO is a huge component of that need for perfusion. Of course, if you look at ELSO's position is it can be perfusion, it can be nursing, and it can be respiratory therapy. I have this debate a lot with a lot of people, and I love my respiratory therapy colleagues. I have nothing against them whatsoever. I think they're incredibly intelligent people and very good at what they do. But I do not view the respiratory therapists' training and experience the same as that of a critical care nurse in terms of understanding the milieu of the patient. Because you have renal function, you have gut health, you have
Right.
wound management, you have fluid balance, you have electrolytes, you have all of these things that we do that respiratory therapy doesn't do. Now, are they technically capable of operating a machine? I'll just say, and he didn't really mean this, because he said it about perfusionists, and he said it about heart surgeons, he said it about pretty much everybody. And it wasn't meant really as a dig. It was meant more in humor, but I'll repeat it for the sake of this. And Dr. Cooley, who said, you give me enough bananas and I could teach a monkey to run that pump, and he was in some ways correct, because what run the pump is not the same as being a perfusionist.
Right.
They're two different things.
Right.
And we are dealing with so many different aspects of the patient's physiology and organ systems, and we're playing with a lot of different components where, again, in ECMO, it's the same thing. And so I don't view, again, I think respiratory therapists are excellent people, but I don't really believe they have the right skill sets to be ECMO specialists. I'm firmly in the camp
Too
of
uni-focused.
nursing, perfusion first, and nursing second, and I feel like nursing should always have perfusion oversight. I do not believe in completely independent nursing ECMO programs where perfusion is never involved. But people have to want to be, right? And this is a real problem because we have given away an awful lot in the years. Okay, you all know that. Okay, for all of you out there that have done that, all right, we don't want to be up all night watching this ECMO. We need to get other people in here. Let's just put respiratory therapists. You can do this. We'll just accept whatever we're going to accept, right?
Yeah.
And when you have limited resources at a hospital in terms of staffing, and the hospital's like, okay, we can't hire any more of these people, and we don't want to pay this amount. We can pay less and have them do it, right? And there's a lot of different aspects to this, and state licensure was supposed to protect that from us, right? But guess what? It doesn't, because you can't exclude. Just because something is within your scope of practice does not create an exclusion to it being in someone else's scope of practice. So if the hospitals wanted to have nurses learn to be perfusionists without formal perfusion training, and they were willing to accept that liability, there is nothing wrong legally that cannot be prevented. State licensure does not prevent that, does not in any way prevent that from occurring. And people don't really understand this. They think in their mind, I'm a perfusionist. You're not board certified. You cannot run that pump. The state can change the rules anytime they want. The hospitals have a far bigger lobby than we do. Put yourself in a position of a hospital and you have your perfusionists that are basically holding you hostage, or any department holding you hostage. You ain't going to win. They got a lot of money and a lot of power, way more so than we. We're a fraternity of what, 4,800?
Yeah.
4,800
Around that now,
perfusionists? Yeah. Well, that's going to be a real big lobby when we go to the state senate or the state congress. We're going to get a whole lot of laws changed because of that. God forbid they lose any of our votes. Right? And that's nationally 4,800, not 4,800 here in the state.
No.
That's nationally.
Yeah.
So bad idea. We talked about COVID. Here's another example of annual perfusion graduates by program type, but you can continue to see this incredible growth from 10 years in 2014 from this number of graduates, just under 150, to about 325, maybe 330. That's an enormous difference. And what happened, again, you see the most of this growth is occurring from here to here, though it was steady, it was steadily going up, but then it really went up. And that's that increased curve that we saw earlier. And this is in a response to COVID. And a lot of people retired. I mean, they absolutely did. People said, I'm out, I'm not doing this. And of course, the workforce, I'm going to be one of those statistics and not too long from now. So, I'm going to retire. And I think that our workforce right now is getting younger. So you're going to be set for a while. But if they keep this trend, if you keep going in this trajectory, we're going to have a major glut. And I remember the dark days of perfusion. Y'all don't remember them. When you couldn't find a job, you were begging for a job. Okay? It was tough out there. So there was a lot of graduates never got a job. And they went on and did something else after going to perfusion school.
Right.
So those days can happen again. There's ways to guard against it, but it's going to take people wanting to, actually be involved, and it takes change in attitudes. 87% exam rate, pass rate for the exam, but you see here the number of people taking the exam. You can see that it follows the same curve,
Right.
and it's the same number of increased in people. Expanding perfusion procedures is going to be very, very important. Of course, ECMO and involvement in the critical care unit, NRP for controlled donation after circulatory death, and of course, HIPEC and AngioVac. We've talked about these various different technologies, and if I can, if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of sort of wander around in this slide a little bit. I don't believe that we will ever be able to have ECMO monitoring on a 24/7 basis, only perfusion related or perfusion run. And the reason for that, I believe, is that ECMO is both seasonal and cyclical.
Sure. Yeah.
And your staffing needs would need to be expanded to a point that when there is no ECMO, y'all will be tripping over each other. There'd be way too many. So you're going to have to either accept doing ancillary jobs, which you don't want to do, become cross-trained as first assistants, which a lot of people don't want to do or even aren't capable of it. Doing an awful lot of inventory management, doing research in research lab, or whatever the hospital chooses to have you do, because they will at that point hold the cards. If you're not happy with your job, bye.
Yeah.
There's too many of you.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so using nurses seems, or using somebody, because again, a lot of programs use respiratory therapy, and again, I'm not going to criticize anybody. I don't want to do that. It's just not my opinion. I don't agree with it. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean they're wrong. Just how I feel about it. But that's a Pandora's box, because as we use those, I mean, we just hired another one. We have 2 more that we plan to hire, because I cannot provide the 24/7 coverage in the ICU. Now, another alternative to that is are the systems that essentially run themselves, so to speak, and you let the nurse at the bedside manage them. You could do remote, but I got to tell you, as well trained as these nurses are, and they're very well trained. Some of them are really exceptional. Some of them are brilliant. Some of the critical care nurses that I work with, some of them are way smarter than I am, and because they know so much about so many different things, and they know a lot about the drugs that are being used, way better than I do.
Especially if they've been in the game at least 10 years.
Yes,
they really take off.
I have tremendous respect for it. I really do. But even them, when something has happened, like a small clot that came out of an iliac vein that ended up getting into the inlet on the cone, and the cone decoupled, and if we were not there, if we weren't there to figure that out, understand what is the problem here, could this have happened, what am I looking for, and be able to do that very quickly, which perfusion can do because of the nature of the job we do every day.
Yeah.
It's second nature to us. Sometimes we can't explain to people how we know something, and so
it's an easy fix for us too.
it wasn't that ezy, but I did get it fixed. But nevertheless, it's something that if we were not there, that patient was done. They were done. And that would have been the proximate cause of their demise. But their disease state. But when you are caring for someone, you're supposed to be able to solve these kinds of problems. And again, in Germany, you may be able to get away with it. This is the United States, and nobody's going to be happy with this, because everybody's going to be screaming and yelling and staring at it and turning things and not knowing what is wrong. Pump decouples. There's only several reasons that we know that's going to happen, and that's, I think, part of the issue. The NRP it's in a heavy growth phase right now. I think it's really interesting. I did a program on it not too terribly long ago, and I questioned in my mind, and I questioned to the audience, if y'all remembered, if you saw that particular program, I seriously questioned this idea of the ethical concerns
I knew you were going to
about doing
especially.
DCD. Yeah. And I don't want to tell the story. I'm not going to tell the story.
Yeah, definitely don't tell us.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, I know
But-
the story you're talking about. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can fill you in on that
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
because I think it'd be worth you hearing
Yeah.
this.
Sure.
But I heard a story. Actually, I've heard two stories. There's two stories that I've heard, actually. One came from you.
Yeah.
And it gave me tremendous pause, man.
Mhm.
I was like, I mean, how could there be any ethical considerations with this?
I-
But then these two things happened, and I was like,
like, how do they choose these patients?
oh,
Like, you know what I mean?
that's why there's ethical considerations in this. I get it now. I had to see it with my own eyes.
And you had
Um,
one not too long after my case. It was
yes.
literally like a week later,
Yes,
a week and a
yes,
half later.
yes.
It was-
So that's something else. Will NRP
Mhm.
actually continue to grow? Will it plateau, or will it fall off? Because, I mean, the need for organs is there, but this particular, and then of course the next question is, will the technique require perfusion? Because technically speaking, we are perfusing a corpse.
Mhm.
And so the medical liability doesn't exist. Your personal liability may exist in terms of if you do a bad job, those organs become useless
Very
to
quickly, too.
somebody, but that's not a legal issue.
Right.
It's not a suable issue. You just lose your job, or you lose your credibility, you lose your
Mhm.
reputation, whatever the case may be. But things do happen. Sometimes, we especially in those cases, it's very chaotic, and it's very a lot of strange things happening that don't make sense to us, because yes, it is a corpse. That's absolutely true. They've been dead for quite a while before we turned this thing on. It's very strange to look at. But will that continue, and will it only be perfusion? Or are they going to find a lesser expensive
Mhm.
way to do this? Right now, my understanding is that CMS is supplementing the cost of these harvests, and they're the ones requiring that it be a perfusionist.
Mhm.
However, again, if the way of funding this changes
Mhm.
and CMS no longer matters, it's going to be a dollars and cents equation for the OPO
Mhm.
who is paying for the service
Right.
to retrieve the organs to sell them. Right. And then, of course, HIPEC and angiovac. I think, again, I do angiovac. I've never done a HIPEC procedure. I don't know if you have. You done
I've
them?
done a couple.
You've
yeah.
done. So I can only speak to angiovac. I'd like to get your opinion on this. I do think that angiovac can be challenging, and you should be a perfusionist to do that. I don't think that
Yeah.
should ever be something that comes out of our hands. Too dynamic, and too many things can happen, including pulling opening up the dry sheath and sucking air and being able to recognize it and fix it very quickly, and knowing how to do that. I don't think people who don't, again, do what we do daily,
Mhm.
because we are very, very well trained plumbers. That's what we are.
Yeah.
We can get trash and air and leaks and cracks and stuff fixed like nobody else's business. We know exactly how to do it. Modify circuits to be able to go here and there with the right flows being split, and it's a lot of fluid dynamics. We know a lot about fluid dynamics, and that's what we're really, really, really good at. But angiovac, a lot of things can happen. Tell me about HIPEC, because I've never done one.
HIPEC, if I remember correctly, you do get like a little perfusion machine. I believe there's a set of disposables. What else did we do?
This is when you were in training, I assume?
This was when I was working at Columbia.
At Columbia, okay.
Yeah. I've done a couple of these cases. I believe they just drain and reinfuse in the abdominal region,
Yep.
I think
Yeah,
is what it
that's
is.
what we
It's
did.
And then-
I
peritoneal.
was training, but I did one.
You did one?
I did one while training with another perfusionist,
Uh-huh.
but I saw it being done.
Is it something that you think is going to have to continue to be perfusion driven, or is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
I
because
would
I don't
agree,
know
yeah.
how
Because
hard
you
it
are
is.
perfusing just the
Basically.
abdomen. They'll
It's
turn a kid
chemo
off.
drugs,
Yeah,
but you're
it's
still-
chemo drugs.
Yeah.
It's like ILP, you know.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to. Anytime you're connecting to arteries and veins, and
But are you?
You do,
With-
yes.
with
In this one,
HIPEC, I thought-
not in HIPEC, in ILP you do. But
Yeah,
but
well, ILP
In
you
high
do.
pec,
in HIPEC, it's just
It's
the,
just
yeah,
peritoneal.
it's the abdominal region. But
Because
It's
they-
peritoneal dialysis,
They rotate
basically.
the patient too to
yeah,
make sure
Yeah.
that it covers
Mhm.
everything and it
Yeah.
gets rid of
that
what you
one
wanna get
maybe
rid of.
not, but man,
Well, you
if
can't
don't
look.
wanna
I don't
give
want
up
you to.
anything-
No, let's try to do this, okay? And for the sake of the audience, and this is not. This is only meant to sort of make sure that we're all kind of looking at this from the lens I'm trying to look at it with,
Yeah.
because everybody has a lens, and I respect it.
right?
But we cannot look at this, in my opinion, from the perspective of we don't want to give anything away. The real fundamental question here
This can be
is
Mhm.
HIPEC a procedure where like ECMO or like angiovac, how I described angiovac, where I would believe, knowing me as you do, that only a perfusionist should ever do this.
Then no, I
No.
feel no,
Okay.
because you could be a tech and do it. You could
Mhm.
be, because it is.
I mean,
a
'cause,
lot,
you know,
it's a lot
dialysis-
simpler than ECMO.
You know, dialysis
That's
like,
true.
dialysis techs do
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
peritoneal
Yeah.
dialysis all the
Mm,
time.
Right,
yeah,
right.
no,
So you know,
no,
but
they can.
so-
They could you could easily train somebody to do a HIPEC.
okay. As long as somebody's in the room that knows how to,
Correct.
kind of correct the circuit, but
Exactly.
there's no
Exactly.
risk of catastrophic something.
No.
So
Just don't spill it.
Yeah.
Well,
and don't
yeah.
touch it. And
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
obviously
it's poison.
it's
Yeah, it's
poison.
true.
So the disposal also is very important, how you get rid of it and all that.
Sure.
But again, it's not something that you couldn't teach like a critical care.
But
nurse very
eventually,
easily,
you have to understand, and what I'm trying to convey here is that eventually, people are going, hospitals, practices, health systems, whatever. They're going to. Everyone is going to be in the same exact place,
Mhm.
and that is, our profits are going down. We need to cut costs. Whether it's the hospital system, the individual hospital, the contractors that work at the hospitals, the companies that supply to those hospitals. It crosses every. It's not
Mhm.
confined. It's universal. Every company has this issue, whether it's a big healthcare system or whether it's a small perfusion practice like we are, right? It's the same exact thing. Costs get out of control, and you have to control them somehow, some way.
Right.
And so but the system, if they're saying only perfusion can do this, then somebody would have to change that. But I think that you guys, younger generation, need to find other things that you can do
Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to do that. That's what I think. 1970s, you had on-the-job training. Thank you very much. 1980s was formal
Fly by the seat of your
education.
pants.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a 70s baby. That's right. And in 1980s, it was more formalized with didactic and clinical rotations and minimum case requirements for certification eligibility. The 1990s, we have the degree requirement, and then now with many of these programs require a GPA
Yeah.
of a minimum.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these programs, because Columbia is really hard to get into, so you have to be really smart to get into Columbia, right? You got to have really good GPA. So you went to a really good school.
I got into Hofstra, but I
You went to Hofstra,
yeah,
right?
but,
Well,
Columbia
Hofstra's
was
even
one
better.
of the-
That's Ed Delaney. We
Right.
talked about this. That's right.
Yeah.
I saw Ed at the last TPA meeting. I can't go to the TPA meeting this year, but I would have liked to have gone. But yeah, Ed Delaney, and I mean, he's a serious academician. That's how
Yeah.
you say
That's
that
the
word. Academician. Yes, that's the
I
word.
believe you.
It's true. He's a very serious, academically oriented fella.
He is, yeah.
Okay, and very, very smart, really good, nice guy. So yeah, Hofstra's certainly a great program, and so, but they have very high standards,
Very
very
true.
hard to get in. My niece does not meet those standards, so I mean, that's all there is to it.
Mhm.
Some of these places are really hard to get into. You got to be smart. Not that she's not smart.
No,
She's just smart in a different way.
Sure.
I tell her all the time, just channel your inner Uncle Joe. You'll be fine. Then 2020s, you have technology integration, modern programs incorporated simulation training. I've never thought in my wildest imagination that simulation cases could actually be a part of your training.
I've done those.
I know, it is.
They're all
I went
kinds
up,
of fun.
well, I went up to SUNY
Turning
for
the little
those of
digital
you.
dial on
Yeah.
your FiO2.
I know. I know.
And going up on sweep with your finger.
I know.
It's fun, Joe.
I know.
And they're fun.
I went to.
They
I
got
went.
reservoirs. And
I know.
They got tubes that come.
Yes.
Oh, it's nuts.
Exactly.
They can simulate all kinds of real stuff, man.
They can, I
all
know.
Of a sudden your volume's just
Well, you know
going,
that-
and you're like, where's it going?
Yeah, that system oh god, Califia. That's what it is.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the one we
Yeah.
had,
Yeah,
at
that's
UT.
a really good.
It is
but
really
it's
good.
so hard to run.
We
Lord
have
have mercy.
a couple of people that can run it okay.
Yeah.
One guy, I don't want to say the name because I don't think he's given me permission to use his name, but he's the main guy that does it, and then he's trained there's two guys, but man, they can simulate it all.
Really?
Like, it's pretty nice. Like, complete loss of Venus return, everything, dude.
Mhm.
It's nuts, dude.
That is great. Yeah, that's really good.
It's
But,
and it's great because we did this for like a month even before we got into the OR, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it really helped.
I'll be damned.
By the
yeah.
time I was in the OR and something actually happened, I had already done it on Khalifa, so
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah, and I
it
had
really helped.
and I've never had the chance to use it, but
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have one up in SUNY in New York.
Yeah.
At SUNY
Yeah.
with those guys up there,
was
Bruce
great.
Searles and Ed Darling.
Darling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. Bruce is a great guy too,
Mhm.
but Ed's just super nice. And now, of course, we have AI being integrated, and that's becoming a thing. So the skills are getting. You really have to be good with technology and computers and AI and all this stuff, I think, to be able to move forward into the next decade of perfusion. I think
Especially
you're going
with
to
the
see
newer pumps
a lot
too.
more.
They're a lot more technology driven.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I'm speaking about the Spectrum and then the new
Essence.
Levanova, the Essence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can do it without, but the bells and whistles are kind of what make these newer pumps the newer pumps, right? Like,
Absolutely.
you can demify any of the new pumps and go like S5 style on the Essence,
Mhm.
but then why'd you buy the Essence?
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
no, you're exactly right. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
Like, why?
But I learned something the other day about the Essence, which was like I was on pump
Mhm.
and I had the pulse on, even though I totally disagree with this, but I do it to humor the surgeon.
I know where
And-
you're at.
And yeah, and I mean it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I'm going to do a program where I'm actually going to simulate that
Mhm.
right here. We're going to simulate it so people can see just how traumatic it is. You shouldn't do it. It's a big, huge
We should
mistake.
use our S5, one of the pumps here.
Yeah.
It's a good measure.
Yeah, well, I don't need all that. To simulate that, all you need is just a centrifugal little
No
pulse.
real
But-
pulse, Joe.
Dude, okay, you cannot get a real
I
pulse
know.
when you're taking something that
We've had
small
this argument,
and putting
yeah.
it into something
Yeah.
that big,
Yeah.
10 feet of tubing and an oxygenator in between.
Right, right.
It's not going to happen. But
No.
we'll talk about that another day because I got to keep up. I got to keep on schedule here. Okay, I don't do too good with that. But looking at annual growth,
Mhm.
don't just look at the number and go, "Oh my God, I'm being underpaid."
My God, I'm being
Because
underpaid.
yeah, and so
Who's my boss? I need to
yeah,
talk to him.
yeah, right here. Yeah, right here. Uh-huh.
Grossly underpaid.
But
here.
what you do see is an upward trend in salaries. That's something that is obviously been going on for quite some time. But I use this data and this slide because it showed that trend.
Mhm.
These numbers are, I think, somewhat sketchy. It depends on where you live, depends on the
Absolutely.
market,
Yeah.
That's
depends on
for
your
sure.
years of experience, depends on what kind of program you're in. There's so many factors involved, but nevertheless, the point's made. Perfusionist salaries, I do believe this is true, have increased by 36% over the past decade, and that far outpaces inflation. Far outpaces
Sure.
inflation. And I don't have a problem with that. Let me tell you, I'm a perfusionist, okay? I run a perfusion company. I think I'm underpaid. Okay, make no doubt about this. I do not take the position. Make sure everybody's clear about this. I do not take the position that perfusionists make too much money because I'm a business owner. I am a perfusionist. I have been doing this. I still do this. I still do this a lot.
Sure.
I know what this job is like. I think we're all underpaid.
Really?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Why?
With some of the stuff that I have done, you yourself have done
I've
to help
done.
somebody
That's good.
who is
Yeah.
the surgeon not kill the patient.
Yes, that's fair.
Okay.
That's
All right.
fair, yes.
How about that?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a coach that day.
If you know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing and you're good at what you do, I believe in merit. I don't believe in tenure and pay. I believe in merit and pay. That is how I fundamentally believe. But yeah, I think I'm grossly underpaid, to be frank with you, even though I'm Joe, but I'll be frank for the moment. Okay. Anyway, the increase in salaries, you like that, huh? I'm here all week, 2 drink minimum. High salaries reflect critical shortage of qualified perfusionists and specialized skills required for complex cardiac procedures on a national level. So, the shortage, and I got a slide at the very end I think you'll find interesting. The different models are hospital-based, and these are the benefits that you can get from that. There's contract-based, which we all here are.
Correct.
And then there's independent practice, gunslinger, whatever you want to call it, where you just go out there and you sell
days, huh?
yourself. Yeah, California days. And those were the days, man. You could do it. You could roll. I was rolling in it, bro. I was rolling in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I could charge.
In the Wild West.
Yeah. I could charge back then, 1989, I could charge.
And I was 9 years old, man.
Yeah.
I don't even think Vivian was born yet.
Yeah.
95 is when I was born.
Yeah. I could charge $1,800 to $2,600 per case
Oh, wow.
and get it all day long.
Wow.
Get it. And I did between 300 and 500 cases a year by myself.
Gunslinger.
You want to know where my success comes from? That time in my life, I busted my ass. I was on call 24/7, never took a day off, never took a holiday, nothing. All I did was work. That was it. And they would call and I'd say, I already got a case to do at that time. Okay, well, when do you think that one will be done? Well, probably done by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Okay, I'll schedule it for 3. They would schedule it around me.
Yeah.
Those days are over too. Okay. It was great back then. Give you an idea of comparing us to others, perfusionists, training years, pilots, training years, cardiac surgeons, training years, CRNAs, critical care RNs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, police officers, teachers, and petroleum engineers. And there you're looking at the average salary of these people. Again, don't look at just the raw number. Get yourself as a comparison to others. Because airline pilots, if you're a transoceanic 747 pilot, you're making way more than 180.
Yeah, way
You're
more.
making about 360, about double that.
Right.
But if you're a commuter pilot, then you are probably making 35 to 40.
Yeah.
So these numbers are not necessarily, it's just a comparison
Right.
using the same basis or the same resource. How do they compare? That's what you
Right.
need to look at. What your continuing education requirements are, what your call requirements are, and the liability risk, whether it's high, very high, moderate, or low. And there you have it. I found it very interesting that the annual CEUs are 2 years for physician's assistants is 100 every 2 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfusion is 45 every 3 years.
Jeez.
So a lot less.
Yeah.
Way less.
Nurse practitioners about on par with us. CRNAs about on par with us. Critical care nurses a little bit less. Cardiac surgeons, they don't have the amount there, but they have their requirements are quite high as well. Heart surgery trends in volume. You can see the dip during COVID. It is now recovering to pre-pandemic values. I do believe, based on the data, that the population is aging. You will continue to see this number grow. So I think the number of cardiac surgeries being done annually will continue to grow over the next 10 to 15 years. So just in cardiac surgery, I believe you guys are in a really good place. At least that's my opinion. And then, of course, doing more and more different kinds of perfusionists. Now, how did AI get integrated into this? Well, it really isn't quite yet. I don't think that perfusion has, there's really no true AI integration at all. I mean, they could barely get Epic to work with the damn thing.
Right.
So, with the Bluetooth or whatever mechanism they use over the Wi-Fi's or whatever, the intranets versus the internets, that kind of thing. So, AI is going to play a role. I don't know what that role is. I just don't know. But it's going to play a role. When it does, we're going to find out what it is.
Right.
But, there's
I don't think it'll be turning knobs or doing anything like that. I think it can suggest like a number for you. You think it would turn a knob?
Do I think?
Eventually.
Do I believe that? Do I believe that robotics? We'll call it robotics as opposed to just AI. But AI, robotic androids. Do I think that is plausible and that they're going to be turning
actual
knobs?
Robot turning a knob, but the knob turning itself.
Yeah, I
think because it has AI integrated into the operating system. Of the pump.
Yes, I think it could do all of that. What it can't
for
do,
sure, but do you think they would ever let it do that anytime?
No, I think they will with us monitoring it. If you look at a 747, so again, going back to the piloting thing, 747 pilot, there's a really cool story that a 747 pilot was coming into a landing at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. And there was zero visibility, zero. There's like the clouds went all the way to the ground and you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. And the pilot is narrating his experience landing the plane in that circumstance. It's one of the, there's only a few planes that can actually do this because it lands itself. But he's going through with his hands on the controls, feeling as the plane is banking, as the throttles are moving, as the rudders are changing position. He's actually describing his tactile experience as it's doing this.
While it's doing it
Yes.
itself.
And then the plane lands and comes to a stop. And he changes his narration of that to the new paragraph. Now comes the most difficult part. I have to taxi it. So, because he couldn't see, and he has to be able to taxi this plane now to the terminal. Right. But it landed itself. So do I think it can do it? Yes. What I don't think it can do is ever do it without human involvement, because if the computer malfunctions, it's the human that's going to throttle up and pull back on the stick and climb out to a safe altitude and figure out, what do I do now? Do I go to another airport? This isn't going to work, or whatever it may be. So in the perfusionist case, hypothetically, you're on pump, you don't know that your cone is cracked, your air bubble detector starts going off, you see foam. Just from this lecture, the first thing that's going to hit your mind is, this is bad. And you're going to look for it and probably find it and have to change it right then and there. There ain't a robot that can do that.
No.
No robot can.
The robot will just come off.
Right.
And then that'll be that.
That's true.
Exactly. So do I think that it will ever become fully automated? No. Well, it may become, no, let me rephrase that. Yes, it can become fully automated with human supervision. But once you stop doing a lot of those things, you lose your skills.
That's very true.
Right? You don't think AI is making these decisions about where your sweep should be, where your flow should be, where your pressure should be. It's making all these decisions for you, and it's intervening or telling you what to do. You lose your ability to critically think through situations when they come up because you don't have the routine muscle memory. So that's my view on
I
that.
was just telling David that before, if you remember, before we went on air about losing the critical ability to think because
Yes,
of AI.
I lost mine a long time.
I like
Here's
it, but I feel myself getting dumber.
AI impact analysis on perfusion, professional security, of course, we talked about that, implementation challenges of how to do the innovation potential. I think AI has a place. Basically, this slide has a lot of goobly gop on it. I think it's all kind of neat, but it really comes down to you can't take the human out of it.
Yeah.
Total automation and future possibilities, seriously doubt it. Emerging technologies and future applications, nanotechnology integration, telemedicine, and remote monitoring. We discussed this already because I go through these diatribes and I get way ahead of myself on the slides. But you know,
You
basically,
covered all this, yeah.
basically, you can, you know, yes, basically, this is in fact something that can happen. There's your perfusionist sitting there, and he's running the pump, and somebody else is telling the surgeon what to do, I guess. Maybe they're bots, I don't know, or maybe they're AI-generated technicians. But look, you got a balloon pump there with 2 monitors, unless that's it. It looks like a balloon pump.
The one on the left looks like a balloon pump.
It's hard to say with drawers. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Professional development and continuing education, virtual reality training. I think we're doing a lot of that.
That's the real thing.
And yes, I do think that's a real thing. Digital learning platforms.
Again, I've participated.
And I think that's incredible. You know, if it's really immersive and you really feel like it's really a case, I think that's great. We didn't have anything like that when I was growing up. We practiced only on people. I never did a bucket run of any sort, never did a simulation of any sort. It was just people.
I attest to the Khalifa system. That thing was cool. I was a lot more. I felt, by the time I was in there, it felt so much better. I would have been completely freaked out if I didn't have that.
Understood. So again, here we're looking at comprehensive perfusion metric dashboard, program growth, salary growth, graduate numbers, ABC exam pass rate, and in different employment types of the ones that we went through, kind of what it all looks like just in a graph. Here's some ideas that you can look at if you'd like. And I want to get to that one slide if I can. Picture, AI, collaboration. These are all the same things. Key takeaways. I'm not going to do that. Okay. This is the slide I wanted to get to. This is what I'm going to conclude. Staffing is, guess who's CCP now? Hey, I knew it. Good for him. Good for him. Good for you, Kevin. If you're watching, good for you.
Congratulations.
Yes, yes. We look forward to Friday. Okay, I haven't forgotten. Don't you forget either. Okay, and Friday is 12:01 Thursday night. That's 12. That's midnight and 1 second. I'll be sitting there looking at the phone.
Central Standard Time.
Exactly. That's right. Thank you. But what I'm trying to convey here is that our staffing models and our job security and everything else that we do is so incredibly dependent on what I call the pendulum effect. If there's a concept in physics, conservation of energy, right?
Right.
So if you have a pendulum, you're going to see it in this video, and you just let the pendulum go, it can never come back to the same exact place. It's going to be lower, right? Because you're going to lose energy coming back. If you push it, however, it's going to go way out, and it's going to come way back, and might even reach the same place. And that can be a problem, because there's a reaction to what was a critical staffing crisis, and that reaction caused the pendulum with a lot of momentum to go way out, and it's now coming back. And this is where you got to be concerned. I think this video sums up my view on this very well.
I have here a pendulum. I have an object that weighs 15 kilograms, and I can lift it up 1 meter, which I have done now. That means I've done work. MGH is the work I have done, believe me. I've increased the potential energy of this object. 15 times 10 is about 150 joules. If I let it fall, then that will be converted to kinetic energy. If I would let it swing from 1 meter height, and you would be there and it would hit you, you'd be dead. 150 joules is enough to kill you. They use these devices, it's called a wrecker ball. They use them to demolish buildings. You lift up a very heavy object, even heavier than this, and then you let it go, you swing it, thereby converting gravitational potential energy into kinetic energy, and that way you can demolish a building. You just let it hit,
Yeah, that was nice.
and it breaks a building. And that's the whole idea of wrecking. So you're using then the conversion of gravitational potential energy to kinetic energy. Now, I am such a strong believer of the conservation of mechanical energy that I am willing to put my life on the line. If I release that bob from a certain height, then that bob can never come back to a point where the height is any larger. If I release it from this height and it swings, then when it reaches here, it could not be higher. There is a conversion from gravitational potential energy to kinetic energy back to gravitational potential energy, and it will come to a stop here. And when it swings back, it should not be able to reach any higher, provided that I do not give this object an initial speed when I stand here.
Remember, he doesn't give it any initial
I
speed.
trust
Right, and that's
the
important.
conservation of mechanical energy for
It's just
100%.
going to drop it, right?
I may not trust myself. I'm going to release this object, and I hope I will be able to do it at 0 speed, so that when it comes back, it may touch my chin, but it may not crush my chin. I want you to be extremely quiet, because this is no joke. If I don't succeed in giving it 0 speed, then this will be my last lecture. I will close my eyes. I don't want to see this. So please be very quiet. I almost didn't sleep all night. 3, 2, 1, 0. Physics works, and I'm still alive.
So I think that for me, anyway, that slide sums up about how I feel regarding our profession and what's going on and how the staffing and the work, the number of available perfusionists is going to change. I truly, truly, truly believe, I could be wrong, unlikely, but I could be, that wrecking ball represents the reaction to the staffing shortage that occurred and the way I think some people took advantage of it, because I think they did. I think there's plenty of evidence to support that, and that ball wasn't released. That ball has been
Thrown, yeah, with speed.
and so it's coming back. And I think that it's going to be something that will be a very significant challenge. Not overcomable, but it's going to be a major challenge for both of you as you move on in your careers. And you're going to have to figure out, how am I going to adapt to the new norm? Because you've been trained in an environment of, we're in such high demand. We are running the show right now. I've seen this before. I remember California, but I watched that pendulum come right back, and it completely changed that whole paradigm that occurred during that time. the Scudder Newton time when he would show up to hospitals to do cases in a limousine. Okay, it was crazy. He was in Las Vegas. He was crazy. Okay, that went on a lot, and I saw that go from that to people not being able to find a job, salaries plummeted. And so you have to guard against that. You can't take this as we're doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Use the information I'm giving you to figure out, how do I set my place? How do I make my mark? What do I do? You got to find something, whether it's a certain procedure, whether it's doing education stuff, whether it's whatever it is, so that you do make yourself one of the indispensables.
Right.
Because the ones that are don't have weak work ethic, don't want to do anything, have no curiosity, have no interest in being the best that they can be, are going to find themselves the first ones looking for a job.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And it's just economics. Right? That's all it is. Okay. What'd you think of that?
It was great.
It was good?
Good.
Did I do pretty good?
You did all right.
You always
All
do a good job.
Just remember, I beat you. Okay. Can I have 5 minutes? And I'll get the other one
Thanks,
up.
Dave, you're the
I'm gonna yeah, thanks, Dave. I'm glad I asked. I'm gonna take 5 minutes, okay, guys? So we'll be right back. Give me 5 minutes. Where is What's that? You're filling her in?
What you're about to do.
Okay, we're back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. And greetings, big G, big G.
Big G.
Super good guy. Anyway, so our next lecture is going to be, I'm jump right into it, it's going to be short, okay? So cardiovascular surgery journal comparative analysis. Really my fundamental question, I'm just going to, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. How do I do that? Well, I mean, what happened? I don't know what's going on here.
Do you want a hand?
You guys say something.
I usually
Talk.
just let magic come.
Just
and
talk. Just talk.
Magic usually solves problems.
Talk. Just
But
talk.
magic doesn't seem to care to want
It's
to help.
read
you.
only. New slide layout.
It's just like I'm gonna chill over here to figure it out.
Share. I don't know how to fix this, dude.
Dude, I have
Can-
faith
can
in you.
somebody
Here
talk?
he comes.
Please.
What journals do you like to reference when, at least for like the perfusion
He likes to-
field?
he
Oh, it's
picks,
gonna
You
be.
guys.
It says
Me,
read only. I don't know
like to
why.
check.
And it's
And
not
I like
letting
to
me
pick,
make
like-
it big.
As I was telling Joe, I like to pick like
That's not it.
journals that are more widely accepted.
That's not
I'll
it.
even look into
Here, dude. You fix it. Here.
how like accepted they are. How many articles have they
It's
published?
this one.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, man, it's just like
No, it's this one right here.
there's so many.
It says it's read
there's so much
only.
information out there,
Yeah, that's true.
and you can like
Let me try
like,
to
for instance,
reshare
go,
it.
Go look and search for like ultrafiltration.
Can you just put it up there the way
You'll
it
find
is?
like 100 articles.
Just put it
for,
up to where the way it
100
is.
articles against. Well, that's problematic.
Yeah.
You know
There.
what I mean? Because that means
Okay,
there's
does that
no real
work?
answer. That means
Okay.
that people are
It's
just
like a
putting out
broad
whatever.
topic.
Thank you. I got it.
everywhere.
I'm
You
so
got it?
sorry, everybody. Yes, I'm sorry for
Lord
my
have mercy,
incompetence.
Joe.
Everybody logged out because I was too incompetent to figure this out.
That's what you get.
So my real question is the Journal of ExtraCorporeal Technology, JECT, is it a legitimate scientific publication? It's a very tough thing to analyze this and to really figure this out. And there's, believe it or not, actually ways of finding that out, and they use various different metrics. But of those, some of them are impact factor analysis, database indexing and status, editorial board evaluation, and quality metric comparison.
Well, wait, hold on. Before you go forward, JECT is the Journal of ExtraCorporeal Technology
Correct.
by
Yeah.
AMSEC.
Correct. That is
Proceed.
correct.
Proceed.
Yes.
In case they don't know what the acronym is.
I mean, that is our professional journal,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Forgive me, maybe I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. It is our professional journal.
Not
So-
everybody that watches this is a perfusionist, though.
This is true.
So.
Maybe if you'd give me a better mic.
So
So what journal? What journal? The Annals of Thoracic Surgery, SIO, Journal of Cardiothoracic Anesthesia, Journal of Cardiovascular Surgery, Perfusion, the Journal Perfusion, and the Journal of Extracorporeal Technology. So when looking at the impact factor, and this impact factor has to do with to what degree does the journal influence the practice of others both in that industry and outside of that industry. The SJR score is the score, it's the SciMago, and it's a scientific magazine or scientific publication score that is a reflection of the journal's essentially credibility for having the highest standard of evidence-based publications. And then your H index is how often is any one article in the journal that's ever published cited elsewhere, and then who publishes it. And of course, you have a variety of well-known established publishers like Elsevier, Wolters Kluwer, and so forth, and then what the primary focus is. So the Annals of Thoracic Surgery has an impact score of 3.849, which is very high. The SJR score is 1.226, which is in the first quartile, and there are obviously 4 quartiles. And I'm proud of the fact that the Journal of ExtraCorporeal Technology is at least in the second quartile and not in the third and fourth, but you should see what's in the third and fourth. But we don't have that in here. I thought it would be pointless because we just barely did make Q2, barely. So in a SIO, they're 2.05, SJR score is 0.89. 89 is the H index. Again, that's how many times the article is cited, and it is Wolters Kluwer, a well-known. Journal of Cardiothoracic Anesthesia, L severe, 1.58, 0.680, and 100 on the index. Journal of Cardiovascular Surgery, 1.41, 0.66, 59, and that's Minerva Medica, which is not nearly as prestigious as Elsevier or Wolters Kluwer, but it's still pretty prestigious. Perfusion is SAGE, and actually SAGE journals is well known and well established as well. They're certainly recognized. They're in that top tier of public publishers. They're at 1.4, just under the on the impact factor and the SJR score of the Journal of Cardiovascular Surgery. And they actually have a higher H index. And then you have the Journal of ExtraCorporeal Technology at under 1, 0.98, an SJR score of 0.43, which is quite low. It's the lower end of the second quartile. And the H index is 42. And what actually hurts them, you would think that sounds really good. And I'll tell you something that's a little tricky about this and why that number alone, H index, is not enough, because it really affects your impact factor, and I'll tell you why. But the EDP Sciences, I've never heard of them, and they don't have nearly the recognition. The publisher itself is not a I don't know anything else EDP Sciences publishes.
Are they like newer or something?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do. I don't have any information on them. I just know that I know publishers, and I'd never heard of it before.
Okay.
But the H index is what affects the H index, how it affects the impact factor and your SJR score is if most of your H index is by your articles being referenced by your own authors back to themselves. So it's you can't use the one number.
Right.
How that number influences the impact factor is people in other professions and other industries, other disciplines that reference your article. That makes a big difference. But it is indexed, and I think that's important. Here's an impact factor comparison graph, kind of makes it obvious. Highest impact is the Annals of Thoracic Surgery, not at all surprising. It demonstrates premier academic standing. JECT ranks lowest at 0.98 if of the impact factor, indicating specialized but limited citation influence. And I think that's very disheartening to me. Just be completely transparent here. Though, we are at least, not that far off of Perfusion, but it's enough to where it does, I think, it does disappoint me. This is the quartile analysis and understanding the relevant significant disparities in academic prestige among cardiovascular journals. Only the Annals of Thoracic Surgery achieves Q1 status, with all other journals, including JECT, occupying Q2 positions. So they are the premier tier. And there were 5 journals ranging from 0.433 to 0.89 of the SGR score. The JECT was the lowest at 0.433 among the comparison groups. It is indexed, so that's important. JECT recently was added to the open access inclusion of the DOAJ, which is helpful. And the citation database, and and this describes here what DOAJ is, open access, and it's important. But JECT full open access via that service. H-index comparisons, you can see here, again, JECT comes in at the bottom of these journals, which I didn't compare it to like a nursing journal or something else. I wanted to at least keep it in something that, you know, I felt like the selection of comparisons were more appropriate as opposed to some ambiguous thing. Cardiac nurse practitioner, that doesn't really relate to us, so I didn't think that would be an appropriate one. They do have a very robust editorial board. I will admit that. It's an affiliate board with 7 country representation in perfusion technology. I think that's still, in my view, pretty impressive. Actually, they have a longer time of review than the Journal of Cardiovascular Anesthesia. Theirs is the shortest. And ours, the JECT was well over 40 days. It was a good long while. So they do try, I think, to do their due diligence in making sure that what gets published is good. But I've frequently criticized some of the things that I see published, which, you know, concern me. I just think that their opinions masquerading as actual science, and I think that standards just need to be changed. That I can't blame the reviewers for that, because they're following basically what is allowable, and it is double-blinded. So the reviewers don't know who the author is, and the author doesn't know who the reviewers are.
Right.
So I do think that that's also something that that does help JECT be at least they're in the second quartile.
Right.
So I'm disappointed at where it's at in there, but I'm kind of pleased that at least, because I want something, it is very important to me, as critical as I am of AMSECT, as critical as I am of JECT, I want it to be good.
Right.
I want it to excel.
it represents
I want
what
it
you
to
do.
be right. I
Yeah.
want it to be.
Of course.
But my history and my experience with them is that they're so incredibly nepotistic. And if you don't think and act and behave exactly the way they want, they have no time for you. They won't deal with you. And I find that to be very, very unbecoming, and I don't like it. I think that it causes me to react by having this on my own platform, say what I want. I can have the opinion I want, but I would prefer that you guys were way better, because that makes me better. Okay, that's what I would prefer.
Yeah.
I'm not here to just bash on JECT, but I'm trying to point out that if we want to be treated as respected colleagues in the cardiovascular program, or I don't mean to use the same big word twice, but in the milieu of cardiovascular care of patients, with surgeons and anesthesiologists and everybody else that's around, intensive care medicine doctors, we got to get better.
Yeah,
That's all there is to it. You know, our programs have gone from OJT to an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree, now a master's degree.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's even people with PhDs now.
Yeah.
And they had Ohio State had a PhD perfusion program, right, at one time. You know, if you want to do research, I think that's great. But, you know, PhD, I think a master's sort of CRNA master program makes the most sense from an academic bona fides perspective, and the ability to fulfill a discipline of education and pass that. I think that's important to show that commitment.
Right.
This is the impact factor. We talked about it, and the geographical distribution you see there. And the highlighted one is, of course, JECT, average citations per article, publication volume. You can see it's not read by too many people. And yet, if you think about it, the Annals of Thoracic Surgery, there's slightly more. I take that back. There's about 5,600 cardiovascular surgeons. And there's a little less than that, 4,800 perfusionists. But look at the publication volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't even read our own publication.
Right.
We don't, and this is what the big problem is
Right.
we are not as nearly as academically driven as cardiac surgeons need to be,
No. Yeah.
because they need to be.
Yeah.
These guys read journals all the time.
Yeah.
It is really, it's something that is ingrained in them. It's not ingrained in us. So we have the same number, but look at our publication volume.
I think
think-
that comes down to the fact that cardiothoracic surgery is still a subset of a larger group, which is doctors. So doctors also read annals of cardiothoracic surgery, whereas this us
For
in
curiosity
perfusion-
purposes,
Sure, but
Because they're
they may
or-
come across a case,
or for just learning something.
exactly
Right? You don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
See, we
But
are.
they should-
I'm not a subset of a specialty. We are just us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe that also plays a part in the.
It may.
publication.
I
It
think
may. I think that's
also
fair.
that I've been seeing a lot, I guess, like from when I was younger. You know, you want to choose a career, you say you want to do this, you want to do that. Working in the research lab and seeing how much it's impacted those that are achieving to be cardiac surgeons, surgeons as well. They have to take time. Some people take time out of medical school to pursue research. They even take time out of their residency.
Yes.
They take a year or two
They
out
do.
They do.
just to get a competitive fellowship. So
They
like
do.
that all plays a part, I think,
Oh yeah.
as well.
It does.
Especially in today's day and age, you have to
Exactly.
do something extra. They all want
Exactly.
something extra. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just apply anymore.
But-
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we should want that too.
Oh yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should want
I
that
We
think-
too.
should want that too. Yes.
With
And the
all these new
problem-
grads, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
With all these new programs opening, with all these new grads, at least like for us, Ed and Joe had us do presentations. They're like, go find a research article, go do a presentation on it, whether it was individual, whether it was group. So I think with that practice in mind, and you know, I don't think Joe would mind me saying this either, that you know, it's always good to read and see what's going on in the field and be well read, and it helps you out a lot. You'd be surprised what you learn, and it's something that you
Yeah.
can look into further, or something that you can even take into practice as well. Be like, oh, I didn't even think about doing that. Maybe that's something that I'll implement now. And
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I agree with you so much. Listen, I would go to, I didn't really enjoy going to AMSECT meetings. I didn't enjoy going. I did run a perfusion conference for a long time, but it was never. It was only like it was perfusion and heart surgeons and anesthesia, and it was a very multidisciplinary
Wasn't just perfusion.
type of meeting, right?
Yeah.
And when and so I, but I would go to SCCM meetings. I would go to. I never went to STS. I thought that was too highfalutin and it's too way out of my league. I'm not gonna.
You didn't wanna
I'm not
be-
gonna right. I'm not gonna have it. But I would go to a SIO. I would go to. CRRT, you know, and I learned so much of all these different technologies that I know about in the hospital when I'm doing cases. Hey, let's try this. Give me this fluid. Let's try that. Whatever it may be. That's what really helped me grow as a clinician and as a resource or as to be the best I can be, right? I want to be the best. I've always wanted to be recognized as one of the best, if not the best. And but you know, it's that drive and that curiosity for that you need to do that. And I feel like what I see too much of, and more, and this is not a slant to you,
Yeah.
but or your generation either, but it is a slant to your generation. A lot of the people in your generation, they don't want to work. They don't want to. They're not even a year into their practice, and they're complaining about work-life balance. I didn't have any work-life balance for the first couple of years. I wanted to do everything. If it was some weird case or some crazy case, I wanted to do it. I would take people's calls, take their call, because I wanted to be the one called so I could learn that. I could understand, I could get good at what I do. It takes a lot of practice to be really good, you know? And you can't do it doing alpine no balloon coronaries, or maybe throw an aortic valve in there once in a while, or doing off-pump cabbage surgery where you're sitting, you know, down looking at, you know, your Amazon purchases. You're not going to get good at what you do if you don't do what it is we do,
That's
Right.
true.
right?
Especially what we do. It's a very
Oh, yeah.
practice-oriented.
It is. So
discipline, right?
that's how I
Like-
fundamentally feel. Open access advantage, full open access publishing through this system. Certification enhances global research accessibility, particularly beneficial for developing nations and resource-limited institutions. Specialized community focus, strong ties to AMSECT, which the JECT has. It is their journal. Provide direct connecting to practicing perfusionists, ensuring practical relevance and clinical application focus. So that's one of their benefits, but I also think that it's one of the reasons why It's nepotistic. It's not good. I don't think it should be. Lowest impact factor, we talked about that already. I don't want to belabor that point. Journal selection recommendations by career stage. And this basically just shows you that, you know, our journal is highly specialized. It's really about, you know, ATS, STS, SIO, Journal of Cardiovascular Surgery, not so much anesthesia. I've read that one before. Occasionally I'll see something good in there, but it's it is not necessarily the greatest, I don't think, but there's a lot of stuff in there that is germane to what I do every day. And they're a little broader. A SIO is very broad. The CRT is very broad. The Journal of Thoracic Cardiovascular Surgery, that's very broad. It's not, STS is like, again, I feel like the Annals of Thoracic Surgery, like going to the STS meeting. It's out of my league. It's way out of my class. It's pointless for me to watch, to read it. I have no idea what the hell they're saying, but it is incredibly, you can tell, detailed in their process. They're very detailed. And it looks really hard to get something published in that journal. It does not look easy at all. JECT, it looks pretty easy. If you have the fundamentals of, the very fundamentals of the process, understanding the protocol of how you write a scientific article. I'm not an academic guy, so I don't do research. That's not what I do. I'm more of a clinical guy with experience that is able to talk about my experience. Established professionals leverage JECT for clinical perfusion innovation and case studies, maintain ATS submissions for major surgical breakthrough research, and use specialized journals for niche expertise demonstrations. So basically it says at the end of the day that JECT is a credible journal with a very narrow focus and very limited reach. Basically what this whole slide says. Here's some additional information, additional references and methodology, comprehensive reference and data source. That's just my references. So the question I had was, is JECT credible? And I'm going to ask you now, Vivian, what is your view?
I feel like it is, because obviously when I was in school, we were doing all those assignments that Ed and Joe were making us do with the presentations. I didn't even know those. I knew that possibly there would be journals that were in the perfusion field. I just didn't know they existed until I actually looked myself. And I thought, this is great. It's, you know, perfusion focus based.
Now, I like the Journal of Perfusion more.
Right.
I do.
Right.
I think it's a better journal.
No, 1000%. But, you know, you see more of these, and, you know, I hope that it'll improve as time goes on, and you know, there's more new grads coming into the field as well. We have more perfusionists coming out. Hopefully they'll all get motivated to keep all that going. I think it's credible, but I think there's always room for improvement too. And it can become something big like science translational medicine and things like that.
And you know, and I'm going to agree with you. I actually do. I think they try to do a really good job, and I do think that they are I think they do all they can to maintain its level of credibility. And I agree with you. There's a lot of room for improvement. You can be better. And that's what I really do want to see. I need you to comment on this. But my concern, Vivian, is that a lot of your colleagues, a lot of your contemporaries, both in age and experience, unless I'm not seeing it, but the exposure that I've had thus far, you're one of the few of your generation that I find to be as curious and as hardworking and as contributory to both the profession and your practice and your colleagues. So I mean that quite sincerely. I mean, I say that that's why I wanted you here today. Okay, because I believe in promoting the people that deserve. I'm merit based. That's the fun. That's where I'm at. And you have interest. You want to do this. There's a lot of your contemporaries not interested. how are you going to get any? How are you going to? Sometimes you got to have controversial. I'm a controversial person. If you hadn't noticed, I'm very controversial. Okay, because it stimulates conversation.
Are you
True.
know?
Yeah, I am very controversial, and I'll say
Never would have
things.
guessed.
I'll say things just to take an adversarial view,
Yeah.
for no other reason than to get people to talk and argue.
Mhm.
In a professional way.
Yeah, conversation's important. I feel like people may not be interested in something, but unless they don't have the opportunity or at least the conversation to maybe plant the seed in their head and maybe try it, maybe eventually she or whoever would be like, hey, you know what, let's try it. They may like it. If they don't, they tried. But they could be proactive in finding something that can be beneficial for them and to the field too.
Yeah.
Finding that.
Well, look, I'm not going to say where this was, but I went to a recent graduation of a perfusion school, and the students gave their lectures, and I don't remember if any were not. I don't want to say all of them were because I could be wrong, but it was very few if it wasn't. Pre-recorded them and were not able to answer any questions about their own
Topic.
presentation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know we have a shortage, and I know you have a selection process, but are we, for the sake of filling spots, lowering our standards? That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, I
So I
hear
saw
it's
that.
hard. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I saw that. Well, it's hard because you have so many people applying, but
I see.
if you have the,
right.
if you have one position and you have 100 applicants all from the third string, and the best of the third string is the best you consider they're the best. So we're going to take that one, but are they really first string?
Right.
They're still third string.
Right.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
Because I saw it happen once before.
Mhm.
I saw it happen in a reaction to the last shortage that we had. When that happened, and Psycor opened up their school, Barry University, and they were just
Right.
pumping people out. That
Which is now closed.
they sent me a guy. He didn't last very long. 6 months of training, maybe a year of training. He was a truck driver. He had zero science or medical experience
That's
at
terrible.
all. And he somehow made it through that program, and they sent him to me. This way back when. And I was like, oh no, no, this is not gonna happen. This dude was completely ill prepared. And I don't want that to happen again.
No.
Because it happened once. We just pumped people through, and they wanted for a while to go back to OJT to start just pumping people out when we were in the depths of the pandemic. I don't want to see that happen again.
No.
What's your view?
I agree a lot with what Vivian says with regard to the credibility of JECT, that I feel it will get better with time. These Newark schools, hers was, mine was, it's very research-based. You're given research topics. You're pushed, now especially, to look into stuff like this. Maybe they wouldn't have done that before, you know what I mean? But they are heavily concentrating on doing
Yeah.
it now. So maybe JECT will. I mean, stands to reason that if they're now concentrating on this at the bottom stage, which is the school level, you're going to build on that, right?
Yes.
Like, so maybe 10, 15 years from now, I'm hoping, because this represents us, like you said, that it does get better scores than what we currently are seeing, you know?
Yes.
The few articles I've come across in it, one of them I wasn't really overly impressed about, but the other two were okay, you know? I cited a few of them in one of my research projects in school. One of them, again, like I said, I was not too thrilled with what I was seeing, and given my background, I can sniff out some BS pretty quick.
Sure.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
are you a subscriber to the periodical?
No, but I can.
Are you a
yeah.
subscriber to the periodical?
don't
Maybe
think
I
so,
should
no.
be. Yeah.
You are?
No, I
You
don't
get
think
no.
so.
You're not right.
No.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. We don't even subscribe
To our own, yeah.
to
yeah.
our own journal,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so it would come, in the mail, and you'd get it and you'd open up. I used to. I did years and years and years ago. I did. but again, I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to it either. Are you a member of AMSECT?
No.
Are you?
No.
Neither am I. So there you go. Most cardiac surgeons, the
They're
overwhelming
all
majority
part
of them,
Yeah.
are members of the Society of Thoracic Surgeons.
Right.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
almost like it's compulsory for them to do that.
For them, it is correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we have the academy as a counterweight, right? And I do think that I like the academy more than I do AMSEC.
Yeah.
And
I even need to join them. I'm not even part of the academy, Joe.
no, well, I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm not
I don't think
either.
I'm part of anything.
I'm not
Part of
either.
HET.
I was as
maybe-
a student. I think I was granted membership with the academy as a
Yeah,
student.
yeah.
Oh,
And-
the free one.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, really, unless I get my gold medallion, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Because they all wear that big, whatever they are, the big medallion.
I want
It's
a
like,
big gold medallion.
they get a big gold. Somebody
That's
get you
if you
get it if
inducted,
you're,
right?
huh?
That's if you get inducted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're never going to induct me. I only think I'm getting inducted into is the
No.
Hall of Shame.
Oh, shame.
That's about it. The Hall of Pain.
Aw.
But anyway, no, it's there's my lectures. I don't know if anybody out there in web world has any comments about it. I've got strong feelings, I know, and
Yeah.
again, I think that pushing people a little bit helps. I certainly get criticized. Sometimes I get real hateful mail, but for my opinions that they don't like, but that's okay. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm willing to, I'm willing to listen to you. I don't like hate mail, but but I'm willing to listen to you and convince me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Show me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to change. I even will admit when I'm wrong. Which I think is something that I do. I think I do a really good job
You
of
do
it.
it. Yeah.
Mhm. It happens so infrequently that I don't really have to do it much.
Of course.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? When's our next program?
Next Wednesday.
Nice.
What's it about?
Oh, that's a.
Oh, that's a
Ooh,
good
that's a
one.
good
Now,
one.
see,
Yeah,
that's
a
going to
fun
be a
one.
really
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
a good one.
Next Wednesday at same time, 11 o'clock, same time, same station.
Yeah.
It's going to be on albumin versus crystalloid for fluid resuscitation,
Yes.
for volume resuscitation. You can already tell where I'm going to go with this, which is it just depends.
Yeah.
Always depends.
It just depends.
Depends.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't just believe the Cochrane group
Well, you
and
can't
say,
just.
because if you take across the board,
Mm-hmm.
every single, all this giant number of patients and say statistically giving them just saline was better than using albumin
Oh no.
does not take into consideration a subset of patients.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I'll probably do some arguing about
Correct.
the Cochrane group, which created this whole big thing
About
that just
dropping
giving normal
crystal.
saline is, albumin is
Yeah.
not good for you. It's just so untrue.
No. Yeah.
So untrue, especially in the critically ill
I'm a fan
population.
of albumin.
Yeah.
But again, there's a time and place for it.
There is.
Yeah, you can't just always give albumin. Sometimes crystal has its spot too, right?
Yes.
It just depends. on
Sometimes
what
that's
you-
the right thing to do.
Exactly. It
But
depends
you're
on
gonna-
what situation you're facing.
I'm looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
We also have some new programs coming up. We have paging Dr. Patel,
Yep.
or is it Dr. Samir?
Dr. Samir. I don't go
Paging
by
Dr.
Dr. Patel. It's too. There's too many of us.
It sounds too Indian.
It sounds way too.
Sounds way too
generic.
Indian. Yeah, it does. It
even
does.
even in India, I always went by Dr. Samir.
Yes.
We're
Oh.
both spinning.
They probably shut our internet off.
Oh.
Oh
Are
no,
we?
we're back.
Welcome to At the Bedside, the podcast where nursing knowledge meets real-world practice. I'm Vicki Carlisle, and each week we'll explore the topics that matter most in nursing, from real clinical experiences to research-backed insights. Whether you're on shift, commuting, or winding down, this is your time to sharpen your skills and connect with the heart of nursing. Let's get started.
There you go.
So we need your guys's,
That's
because
awesome.
now Vicki Carlisle is our director of nurse ECMO specialists.
She's the best.
That
She's
is
been on here.
huh?
Some of these guys should know her. She's been on here.
She's been on several
Yeah.
times. Yes, she does a great job.
Yeah.
And also our ECMO education director as well. But she's incredible. So we need to get your guys's
Yeah.
done.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
What and vibes?
Vitals and vibes.
Vitals and Vibes, and Paigey, Dr. Samir, and then we're also I've got PerfWeb, and then we're also going to have Becky. And does anybody remember what Becky's is?
Becky's is fun. I liked hers. Hers is very lighthearted.
Okay,
Title.
so
That was nice.
yeah, hers is good. So it's
Yeah.
going to be Becky Bolkovac. I can't remember. It's not bitching with Becky or something like
It's
that.
something like that. Though.
It's something
very
like that.
lighthearted.
Bitching with
and
Becky.
fun.
Yeah, I think that's going
It
to
was
be
a very
good.
fun title.
And then we have, I think Tabby's doing something too, right? Not that you know of. Is there anybody else?
We're gonna be doing
That's
more
it?
of these
Okay.
game show type of things.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
Mindy. Yeah, we're going to be
Mindy,
doing.
yeah.
That's Mindy. That's
Yeah,
what we're going to be
yeah.
doing. Right. We're going to be
Yeah.
doing the. We're going to be doing Jeopardy.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of new program coming up
Got all
from our new
kinds of-
studio.
All kinds of fun stuff coming.
Outstanding. Okay, everybody. See you next Wednesday. Peace out.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.